100% on our way to the moon.
Moontrain's on point, we're in the groove, trading like a symphony.
The Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader.
We're on the moon train.
Then we watched you guys land on the moon.
No, you did.
This is how you become a day trader.
Let's go! What you might think is a great movie scene regarding time travel. That is actually a depiction of the US stock market, my friends. Yes. So, we are going to dig into it yet again because it's that time of the week. It is time for the market analysis video. Now, lots can be said about whatever this thing is. Do know it is some of the most historical stuff ever to happen. I mean, wow, just wow. And the plan this week obviously is, as you know, since things might appear to be a little overextended since we're rocking monthly MACD values over 500, that shit can hit the fan at any point, and it is true. It is absolutely true. We are under a trend change window. The last two times that they were lining up to be down, they were actually up, and the good thing is that we reacted really well. Now, however, I've touched upon these trend lines a couple of times here over the last few weeks, and what makes it so unique is you usually rally to trend lines and reject, but you can obviously go above them, and we have it. So it's pretty much the same setup as here, actually. November 24, where we're absolutely blasted through, and we actually stay there for a while. It's gonna be more alarming on the back test that rejects. Okay, with the difference that the weekly MACD, I said it, what was it, 3 weeks ago, this is the number one thing we need to watch in the stock market. Then we forgot about it because we were just rallying like crazy and the market's high on the crime. It did cross, and if you look here, you got two teal bars on the TTD squeeze, right? Which is fantastic. This can grow. I mean, you can go higher. That's the crazy part. You can. The market needs to go higher in order to fight hyperinflation. Okay, what do I mean? I'm gonna say this. Maybe it clicks, maybe it doesn't. It has clicked when I mentioned it in the full moon circle. These big boys can't really afford to sell. They need these shares as leverage. So you'll see a bunch of charts on Twitter that are like, oh yeah, we hit that line, fucking now this is gonna happen. Something really bad would have to happen to trigger it. More importantly, if you at this point in time, it is May 2026, still hold on to any values or preconceived notions about what the stock market is, what finance is, that the Ludley matrix has implanted into your brain, I would suggest you completely forget about that. And it's not easy to retrain the brain, but you kind of are going to be forced to, if you want to be more successful at this. at the same time, that's what makes this group so unique and successful. Because when this was happening, there was really no one looking out for this except us, right? Okay? That daily stow bottom was a winner, and you couple that with then the MACD setting up and all this, okay? And you'll hear a lot or you'll read a lot of material about there being no volume, okay? So I just want to put this to rest, okay, the volume discussion before we get into it. And I'm going to paint you a picture so you get it. If the funds come in and they buy here, and they buy, or the market makers, not the funds, because the funds employ a bunch of schmucks who don't know their head from their ass. But anyways, when the people and the entities who control the market come in and they put in a bottom, okay, because their money and what they play with, retail can't even bring a mosquito, you know what, to the buffet. When they put it in, it's in, and they do it without anybody realizing it except those who know, like us, what the fuck we're doing. Then they sit on it. For them to then magically push this doesn't require much, in the sense, you know, they do it with their orders, their prints. Most of their shit is not even registered on the volume because it's through dark pools, right? Okay, so now you get that, right? So most of the market is not traded in this market that you're allowed to trade. It's traded outside of the market, so you can't see what the fuck they're doing anyways, okay? So the notion that you need more volume to push up a market is false, because they're already in. They manipulate it higher by creating false narratives, right? And using all kinds of tools. So you might be looking at, there's no QQQ volume, while they're manipulating the VIX, or they're manipulating the oil markets, or they're manipulating the currency markets. Do you get it? There's many ways to move a market, and one of them is not having a bunch of volumes in an uptrend. Because think about it. They're pushing the price, so they're pushing the price higher, okay? Because they want you to buy. Or dumbass people buying a bunch of fucking stocks at bad price who don't know what they're doing, right? So they're trying to lure people in to the upside. Meanwhile, they're luring in via Twitter all the put boys, right? For instance here. And then they rip it higher to get the put money. And that's why there's no volume, because the big boys are already in. The volume reappears when they start selling. You'll see massive red volume and volumes back, right? So in an uptrend, the point is you don't need a bunch of volume to go higher. Also, you're making new all-time highs. There is nothing here, right? There's nothing there. That's why I keep my eyes always peeled on the book maps, okay? And I look, where does the orders, the slight orders, where do they appear, right? And where do they take them off? So again, this was gone, I think it was on Thursday when we were looking bad. Now it's back there, okay? So just like, you know, nuggets for the train ride as a snack, okay, before we get into it. So, are we overextended? Yes. Will this market sell? Yes. When can it start selling? As soon as it opens up. Okay, just so we're all on the same page that this market can sell, so you're not gonna be like, hey, man, I thought we had higher price targets. Yes, we fucking do, but it can also sell. All you need is a tweet, a something during a press conference, any random news, anything will fucking sell this market at this point. That doesn't mean that it needs to sell, okay? So by Tuesday, I think you probably get a pullback. If you do not, you're going significantly higher, okay? Where to? Well, I'll give you two price targets. One is 74.23 and change, and the next one is 74.77. The implied move on SPX for this week is 111 points, 111. Okay, and you can go read Justin's epic post about numerology in the chat, and yeah, baby, it's on like Donkey Kong. Besides that, there's a bunch of road mines and narrative this week, and the catalysts, one being the Senate confirmation of Warsh, which might happen as soon as Monday, and usually a new Fed head has sold the market. Why is that? Because the market doesn't like uncertainty, and the market does not know exactly what Kevin Warsh will end up doing. Therefore, he is an uncertainty. The market, with time, started being very favorable to Jerome Powell, right? Because it knew what he was going to do, pretty much, right? Makes sense? Yes. Okay, so that's one. Then you have CPI, PPI. You have this whole Iran bullshit that I don't know anybody who's like not over it already, and they should wrap up their shit. The point of that whole thing is obviously tokenizing oil, just like when gold and silver were magically ripping, right? For no reason. And yeah, redesigning the oil game. Problem with that is time's running out, etc, etc, etc. But that's a whole nother story. So those are upside targets. To the downside, obviously, gap fill. However, again, same thing as I said here, right? Once this is over the FOMC line, you have a decent stop there. We also have not backtested my ultimate target that we surpassed. So if the 9 crosses here, that's gonna be a signal that this can stay elevated for a while. Okay, you have not pierced the daily Bollinger Band. You've come real fucking close. On Tuesday, if we're up at open, I certainly would take profit on YOLOs. It is bearish that we didn't close above these highs. However, I wouldn't be surprised if we gap and open at all-time highs. If we don't, I do not like that we've had early strength and then not go anywhere. Early strength and not go anywhere, right? Early strength, not go anywhere. Early strength, but not really go anywhere. This is a very, very trappy pattern, but obviously also we have not been here before. This gap will absolutely at some point this month close. Obviously when it closes, this one closes too before that, and this one. So you got 1, 2, 3 gaps right here that definitely will close. Then you have more lower, but those 3 will, if you're patient enough, like a monk, slap some alerts here and buy that rather than that one. But they're good for bounces, right? They're good for bounces. Same with this. This will also be good for a bounce off a trend line and a gap, So it's all about how and when you play it, right? And for those of you who are wondering what this is Todd's new toy that I'm also testing out. It's pretty cool. Once it's loaded, the green and the orange gold starts fading, you rip. So hit up Todd for that. Pretty cool. Now, a lot has been said about volatility and the VIX over these last few months, and people not really understanding what it is, and a lot of inexperienced traders think it's like some inverse to SPY and SPX. That is not the case, okay? Or that it measures fear. No. The VIX prices in option contracts, okay? Thank you, good night. Okay, the lower the VIX is, the less options contracts cost. Okay, that might be a wild concept to understand, but that's it, right? And then there's the VIX 1D, the 1-day volatility, that I trade a lot off of when I do overnight trades, meaning if it rises like this, I usually play calls the next day, because once these gaps up down here, by the time it's done that, my SPY overnight YOLOs have juiced. Now, it gets really fun when we're still above this party line, right? So once we start coming down to here, if we do, if you hit overnight $20 contracts on SPY the right way, you absolutely bank, right? Because the options contracts within the range are more compressed and volatile, right? So with that I mean, like, if you're buying 20s with a low VIX, right? And the move on SPY might not be, or SPX might not be huge, but the move on the options contracts are massive. Okay, that's why when the VIX is high and your in the money SPY calls are like $700-800, what the fuck are you gonna play? And these are basic concepts that your brain will comprehend and learn over time, especially if you're new. I'm not expecting you to comprehend, everything I just said. You can rewatch. Some people think that info and comprehension is worth endless, and it is. It depends on what you do with it and how you put it to work. Okay? But it's just good stuff. If even 5% sticks with you, then great. And then, as Justin pointed out, very rare moon situation in May. Go read his post. It's really fucking good. Good job, Justin. As he said, absolute golden Nutella burger patty fest in Valhalla. Well put. But anyways, new moon on the 17th. Come on, man. Look at that. Doesn't say Hawaii anymore. Anyways, the Namo. I'd have to say that one of the best calls that I've done in recent memory was not only the rally, but the continuation of the rally, when we recognized, and this is why you gotta watch the recap videos when I put them out, okay, because they also have nuggets in them, and I don't remember half the shit when I trade, but it's good if one of us does. Was that when price was holding, right here, price started holding really nice here. It was holding while the Namo rapidly decreased, and at that point it's like, okay, well, if price is holding and the Namo is falling, that means that any uptick on this will cause a rally, and obviously that's what occurred. Okay, so then again, this is completely undecided, and if we don't have a big sell in the market and we start doing a period like this, right, a chop Namo period, let's just for reference go and look at what that might look like. Okay, and it's very volatile and it can fuck you on contracts because of the VIX and the range, but it can still keep trending. Okay, so again, we have a lot of catalysts this week. I don't mean to be long-winded here, but there's a lot of info that goes into how we're gonna approach the week. And the number one thing is, do not get fucked. I noticed, for instance, last week, as opposed to the week before, I was just absolutely killing it on futures, and options were like, eh. This week, I mean, just smashed it on options, and executed really well on Friday by like keeping the fucking massive gains, even though it wasn't that good of a day for the indices. Caught this open move, and then we started smashing some of these individuals. Obviously, people always joke, ooh, if I could go back and buy Bitcoin back into blah blah. Fuck that, dude. This right here is the shit. Absolute massive. Which reminds me, by the way, before I get into what we're gonna be looking at this week, here. So, memory, this one, interfaces, this one, packaging, these ones, testing, these ones, data movement, this power, these small caps, boom. What does all this mean? Well, carrots, okay, in a ever-growing tech bubble. Is this monthly a little overextended? Yes. Can it go higher? Yes. Is it likely? Bro, there ain't a fucking single person who in September or August or at any point last summer said that this was possible or was gonna happen. So again, the less people comprehend what the fuck it is, the higher it can go. Again, I'm gonna say that. The less people understand what the fuck it is, the higher it can go. Because in that case, their brain cannot put a valuation to the product. Therefore, it can fucking go higher. Whether there's real understanding behind it, it will be generating a shit ton of money, or if it's the emperor's clothes, does not fucking matter. What matters is when you enter. And again, here's a great example that Fed Tripper actually messaged me about. And Jack knows, and you know, Kuja knows, and when we had a whole full moon circle meeting about this. 4-hour stow is absolutely epic. Okay? Just gotta be patient. But the point is, if the trend is intact and you spend Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you know, usually they'll pump the premiums for Monday, and then you have this happening all week, right? If the 4-hour stow close to expiration turns around and you have a short time period and you've killed the IB and you've killed the premiums on the contracts and you pump it again, you get option contracts short squeezes, right? And that's how you get those insane trades that we've been trading lately. Okay? So something to keep an eye on. Something to keep an eye on. Same thing here. I'll just show you. I always look at the stow. And you can also just stay elevated and push, right? I use it on the 5-minute every day on a SPY. Like, you know my SPY setup. I'll play something overnight and then this is like the perfect setup here. Falls out of the sky on some bullshit. Stow bottoms out. RSI goes, to 30. Not that I have RSI on here, but I look on my ES. Pierces the Bollinger Band and then does the Bollinger move. Okay? That's it. Over and over and over and over. Now, when I do something like this, does it matter if SPY is at 300, 400, 500, 600, 700 or 800? No. Doesn't fucking matter to me. It's the setup. Alright? It's the setup. That's what it's all about, right? Does it do this? Works 7, 8 times out of 10. That's why it's important. I don't know if you knew this, but I pretty much trade the same lots of allocated money per my trades. Okay? Why? Because it's not a sprint race, it's a marathon. Reduces risk, reduces getting fucked up, reduces all kinds of mental games you have to do with yourself, and it ensures that you can show up the next day, because anything can happen the next day in the shit show that can change your life, right? Anything. I mean, I didn't even, a week ago in the market analysis, I didn't mention that I was gonna trade Nvidia a single fucking time. Do you guys remember when I traded Nvidia the last time? I don't even fucking remember trading Nvidia the last time. Do I know that I traded it on Wednesday, Thursday and Friday at open? Yeah, because that shit was moving, those contracts were moving. Instinctual stuff, right? Very instinctual. We had some good meta trades, but he traded like absolute dog shit because money is not going into meta. It is going into shit that people comprehend what meta does. People know what meta is not like doing anything that people don't comprehend what it's doing. That's why it's done this here. Doesn't mean that it can't go higher or lower on a rotation, but this is where it's at. This is doing the same shit that Nvidia was doing here and here and here, right? The only thing that's changed is what animal Jensen's leather jacket is made out of. Okay, then he'll go through these periods and he'll go through this and this and this and this. Okay, but none of this AI surveillance grid and the fourth, fifth or sixth technological revolution will happen without memory. And because data centers require a lot of fucking water just as cooling, right? You're gonna need memory, okay? You're gonna need different things, okay? Right? This is why this list is also important, right? I'm not saying that you need to go out and buy all of it. No. A lot of it's already ran, but like there's a lot of different shades of the carrot is the point. Okay? Just like we took this because of this fucking virus, okay? I'm not saying that this hantavirus or the new fucking COVID in bats variant in, you know, Southeast Asia or this or that is not something you should watch out for, or, you know, I'm not putting it past these fuckheads to say that all of these viruses have now joined forces to create a super virus, and what you need to do is sit at home and just order food on, you know, universal income, super blockchain EBT, and it's okay because we're gonna put your fucking food delivery through the UV light, you know, machine downstairs, so you'll be fine and sit at home and fucking just do nothing and consume. But, you know, could happen, right? Look at this shit. What a look at this. Come on. Big stuff. Right? This shit, like, look, like moving, right? Like fucking bird. So, what does all this mean? I'll get to it. We also have an end of the week China meeting. Problem is, this might have already hit right there and right there. That's Bollinger Band Pierce. Then you get another here. We will see, right? We'll see. Can this go higher? I said 145, right? And we were fucking down here and it's hit it twice basically. So it doesn't have to go higher, but it can. Brian says that this is coming up this week, right? The fucking Clarity Act or save it, whatever, right? The how do we fucking get more money from space to grease our pockets type of bill, and tell the people that they need to give a fuck, and it's gonna be great. Tesla, yeah, that was a ripper, right? What does all this mean? This means this: if in this massive bull market Jamie and the boys don't use this as the fake breakdown candle and rip JPM higher on Monday after spending all of these hours in this range since early April. See, they've been hanging out. If this is not a fake breakdown, I'll give it one more day to like 295. If it goes lower, we're cooked here. We're done for now. Pack up the fucking parasol and the beach chairs and the coolers, and don't forget your snorkel at the beach. Okay, it's time to go back to the house. Okay, why? Because Jamie and the boys are not looking too good here, and if after gap fill this doesn't bounce, the market's going down. Now, if they do bounce, that will only bring extra strength, and if they rip this bad boy to all-time highs, what the fuck do you think SPY's gonna do? Okay? Okay? I'm glad we understand each other. I mean, come on man. Come on man. It's a lot of fucking call buying all of a sudden. Okay, just saying. So Monday, obviously, I swung those 743s, and if the direction is up, I will sell them at open and I'll roll in the money and I'll sit there for the grind for a little bit. Okay, I'm not gonna plan further than that. There's been a lot of fucking dark pool buying, like massive prints, massive shit. Okay, like that much worth of only in the 700s, right? Like, do you get like what? Okay. And yeah, here you can really see like Meta's been shit. MU's been on fire. Okay. Next week it is I mean, we're skipping numbers here now, right? Is it fucking spy? Is it not? Yeah. Yeah, Tradertix is not even keeping up. It doesn't know what the fuck we're supposed to be doing here. Really. It's the 15th. I mean, yeah, you got hockey sticks down there, 710 possible. I mean, we almost look like these are chop zones here for those 3 gaps that I showed you, right? Can it go higher? It can always go higher. Literally. Who are you to say it can't go higher? It can fucking go higher. I'm not saying it will, but it can. It can go higher. What these, like, look. This is very simple. When people say, oh, it's like the dot-com bubble, please explain to me what the fuck NVIDIA has to do with Internet Explorer. Like, the shit this company does is so far beyond a fucking website. like you're comparing Formula 1 car technology with a fucking skateboard, and you're like, yeah, both have 4 wheels. Okay. Anyways, Monday, existing home sales plus new narrative. Do we have a deal? We don't have a deal. Blah, blah, blah. Bank of Japan minutes. Tuesday, CPI projected to come in a little hotter. Does the market care? I don't know. Then we got wars possibly as well. Okay. Wednesday, PPI. Ooh, more spicy economic data that is completely trustworthy. Plus you got, you know, Minnesota's finest, you know, out yapping shit, saying the same stuff they have for, you know, 6-7 years. Retail sales on Thursday plus the jobs claims, and then on Friday some other, so pretty lightweight economic data week, wouldn't you say? I would. Nothing like too exciting. Okay. Then let us take a look here. 1 second. Bear with me. We are, because you watched this far, we have Monday early low, Tuesday early high, Wednesday early low, Thursday early low, Friday early low. And next week we still have Shitco earnings. Okay, a lot of interesting, that could be pretty interesting on Monday. Quantum names. Okay, and again, companies who used to sell fucking printer ink, now they're printing money, I guess. Archer, JD. Oh, I don't think we need to trade JD ever, even though we got out of it just nice and all of that. OKLO, are we building nuclear reactors on the moon, or we just funded it? Still no income. Baba earnings could be why it's been a little funky, right? Yeah, kind of looks like, you know, I don't know if I want to get into anything as far as earnings, if you know what I mean. And then just to wrap things up, and I know this is a little bit of a longer episode. But again, that's fine, you know. For Monday, can you go higher? Yes. You can go up here. That'd be great. If you get some great news, fucking explode. I mean, QQQ and SPY looks like they kind of want to explode, and SPX looks like it wants to die. So we'll see how these updates into open. With that said, I'm grateful and happy for all of you guys kicking ass last week. It's great to see. The market's been our type of market. It's not going to continue forever. Good to remember, but it also will return. We have very, very interesting times ahead of us. We got summer trading. We got different narratives. If you are new on the train and life has led you here, besides being 90% cash all the time, and especially overnight, first you got to learn to survive in the market, and then you can thrive. Because if you start thriving first, it's going to be hard to survive. Learn to know what type of market you're trading. So it's good to listen in on us. We have a bunch of absolutely legendary traders in the chat. We try to come prepared. We trade the market that's in front of us. Everything can change. Don't get married to a plan. Okay? Do understand it's a computer game. And if you are wondering about something, ask. I mean, it's just ask. Okay? It's always good to ask if you don't know something. And the main thing is to protect yourself in the market. Okay? Once you learn to protect yourself in the market and you see it for what it is, you got to show up and extract money while you protect yourself. You'll do great. Okay? It's also important that you realize that some people might be trading the market a different way that you trade it, and you need to be trading the way that the market fits into your life. Okay? That's huge. Okay? And I know sometimes shoulda, coulda, woulda's happen. Don't spiral. It's one of the hardest things to do as a trader, is to fucking control the spiral. Okay? So hopefully you took something from this, and I'm sure you did. And I will see you next week on the Moontrain. Okay? God bless. Keep the vibe high. Let's fucking go.
We're riding with the moon.